Good evening, welcome, good morning, good afternoon. It's evening in the UK. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've all had a happy new year and a fantastic time. This is a brand new show. I'm the Urban Monk and we'll be broadcasting it weekly with help and advice on really how to live in the now and be present. Some of you may have seen me speak before when I was a guest on Susanna Medium's show. But for the rest of you, what I want to do is just run through a little bit of history, a little bit my past and how I got to be where I am now. So each week, we're going to talk about being present. We're going to talk about living in the now. And the way that started was prior to 2018. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I was a narcissistic, alcoholic, depressed person. I'm an ex-police officer. So I've seen quite a lot of bad things in life, but I was brought up to believe that what happened in your childhood didn't affect you, and it was all about manning up. So prior to 2018, 2 failed marriages, really struggling, taking time off work with alcohol problems. So I thought to myself, I need to address this. I went to California. I have friends that live over there, and for me to visit them, it was a break from my drinking, my narcissism, the failed relationships that I'd had. I'd always wanted to travel. I always thought there was more to life. I always thought there was more that I wasn't aware of. I knew that there was things out there. I just couldn't put my finger on them. So in 2018, I'm living with friends over in California, and I had a bit of time spare. I had a week before I was due to be in Las Vegas. So I thought, what can I do? And I realized or remembered that I'd got friends that lived in Richmond in Virginia. So I thought, well, I'll go and see them. I reached out to them, asked them if I was okay to come and visit. They said, yeah, that'd be great. So I get on my friend Google, look at the route and the map, and find it's something like 2,700 miles. It's going to take me a day and a half, 2 days driving if I don't stop. But I thought, hey, let's do it. So I planned the route. I realized that going from California to Richmond, you go towards Bairstow, which I'd driven that route many times visiting Las Vegas. I set up at 2 o'clock in the morning because I'd seen the scenery and I was really about the journey. I was really about the traveling. And so I set off, drove into Arizona as the sun came up. Now, obviously being from the UK, all those kind of signs are amazing, absolutely fantastic. The scenery and the vista was something that I'd never seen before, experienced before, apart from that little journey from California to Vegas, as I say. So I didn't realize when I'd Googled it, I didn't realize that it's one straight road, I-40, straight road through to Tennessee. And I set off just really expecting to get to the end result, just really getting to be with my friends and have a great time, spend a couple of days there, and then move on to Vegas. Well, when I started the journey, I didn't realize it was going to go through Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, all those states, all those great places that were iconic from my childhood. But as I'm driving, I'm enjoying the scenery. And then one of the most epiphany moments, if you like, is I'm driving through Arizona and I see a sign for Winslow. So Winslow, for me, was iconic because it was featured in an Eagles song, Take It Easy, as I'm sure you're all aware. And it was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to stop at Winslow and experience that moment because I'd never been there. It was part of my life growing up, but I couldn't. I Googled it as I was driving, probably broke, I don't know how many traffic laws doing that, but I Googled it and it was 10 minutes from where I was as I got near the turnoff. I realized 10 minutes from where I was, but to go there and stay there would be 2 to 3 hours, and it would delay me on my journey getting to see my friends. And that was the most important thing at the time. So I drove on. Then I saw the meteor crater that you guys in America will know what I'm talking about, but there was the meteorite crater. And then just fast forwarding for sake of time tonight, Albuquerque, I wanted to go and see where Walter White lived, in Breaking Bad. And then I would get to Memphis and I wanted to call in and see Elvis or go to Graceland and do all those kind of things. I was driving through American Indian reservations and places that I would really want to see and to look at, but I couldn't. The reason for that was, again, as I say, I was limited to time. I had to be in Vegas. So I was trying to get to see my friends for as long as possible. I decided I wasn't going to stay in a hotel. I was going to park in a truck stop, grab a couple of hours sleep, and then plow on. This is hence the reason my Facebook page is called The Long Road to Richmond. It's the thing that I resonated with the most. So driving through, realizing I'd missed all these iconic places, I got to Richmond, spent time with my friends, had a great time, and then after that set off, did almost the return journey, then branched off towards Vegas, and I was there for see friends that I know in Las Vegas. It was when I was sat in my hotel room, it suddenly came to me, and that's the reason for me speaking to you now and why I've become a public speaker and a life coach. It became obvious to me that that whole journey was just a metaphor for my life. I was 58 at the time. I'd spent all my life rushing to get somewhere, rushing to get to the next big thing, trying to write a book. I was in a band for many years that we achieved absolutely nothing with the band. So for me, the metaphor of that was that I'd missed all the iconic places that I wanted to stop and see along the route. But because I was desperate to get somewhere else, I was missing being present. I was missing the enjoyment of the moment. I then realized or thought to myself, I need to find out more about presence and living in the now and not trying to rush to get to the next big thing. Because really, there is only now, there is only this moment in time. And so when I was researching, and I'll go into that a little bit more in a moment, when I was researching the now, I came across quotes from people like Buddha, the famous quote that there's only one day in the 2 days in the year that can't be lived, yesterday and tomorrow. So it's about today. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor before Jesus' time, was talking about nowism and not procrastinating or catastrophizing about the future. So during my time, when I got back to the UK, I researched the brain. How does the brain work? And that kind of neuroscience led me into reading books such as The Power of Now or Dale Carnegie's How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. In fact, one of the famous quotes in that book is, "Those who do not learn to fight worry die young." And ironically, in the book, it says everybody should have that tattooed on the body. So what I did, I had it tattooed on my arm here as a constant reminder that those who don't learn to fight worry die young. It was at that point that then I started to realize how the brain actually works. Every thought we have creates a neural pathway. Every experience we have creates energy chemicals, neuroplasticity. The brain starts to realize and change our chemical structure. That took me then on to looking into energy in terms of the universe and the law of attraction, for example, the universal law. We are, as humans, constantly identifying with a past event, or we're using that past event to cling on to or hope for a better, brighter future. I realized that the past has gone and the future's not happened yet. So instead of identifying with my narcissism, instead of identifying with my alcoholism, I had to just be now. Eckhart Tolle and a guy called Professor Steve Peters, who wrote The Chimp Paradox, talk about part of the brain, the egoic brain, that makes decisions for us. And while we identify with that part of the egoic brain, we make decisions, as I say, based on past events from childhood. I was brought up to believe that wasn't the case. It's about manning up and doing whatever, you think is the right thing to do at the time. But I realized that looking inside myself, it was me that was at fault for all the things that had gone wrong in my life. It was my fault that I'd failed in relationships. It was my fault that I was actually holding myself back. So musicians, athletes, all those kind of people use their whole brain to focus on practicing what they're thinking about, practicing what they're doing. And so what I want to do, excuse me, what I want to do over the next few weeks is discuss, obviously we're time driven again here, is discuss how we can focus on living in the now, how we can forget about worry, how we can work on really focusing on what's the worst that can happen. You know, in any given set of circumstances, we have to ask ourselves, what's the worst that can happen in that kind of problem? And if we can acknowledge or accept that the worst thing that can happen is we're not going to die, or we're not going to be incarcerated, or we're not going to lose our house, then we can spend time in the present focusing on thinking about what will happen at that time. So we can change things, but we can only change them now. So thank you for listening, everybody. It's so exciting to be here. Time's just flown by. I can't thank the radio station A1R Radio Network enough. It's been absolutely fantastic. You can hit me up on Long Road to Richmond, or my email address is urbanmonkuk@gmail.com. I've got a book coming out soon, and a website will be going live. So I'll be able to fill you guys in more next time when I've got more information for you. But it was just a quick snapshot of who I am, how I got here, and hopefully we can see each other again soon. I'll be taking calls in the next few shows, or feel free to make comments. It's been great talking to you. Have a fantastic new year, and I'll see you next Tuesday night.